If you are to see women in reality for what they truly are, you must maintain and exercise an element of chastity. It's scary what being blind to reality does to you when you're only thinking about lust. I have always maintained the opinion, the strong opinion. What does the universe do? What does the universe see in an individual that is always affirming a state of not having? That is the emotion of desire. It is a state of incompleteness. Do you think the universe then has the impetus to reward an individual that is always affirming their own lack and not having? No, it's not true. If you've done your due diligence, if you've done your research, if you follow the Kybalion, you recognize that all is but a mental projection. If you follow the teachings of Vadim Zeeland, you recognize that everything is but a reflection. What is already held in your heart, already held inside. The macrocosm is to the microcosm. The external is to the internal. The above is to how it is situated in the below. When you step back, it's like you get to put on goggles and see things or know things other people don't. I've learned so much about women, it feels like I should have a master's degree in womanology by now. Now, this individual does state that he is an attractive individual, not boasting, so this plays into my reality. The benefits are all real. This is my truth. No need to repeat them except for the element which seems to ensconce so many men into this practice, which is attraction, which is personal magnetism, might be more accurate to say. Because it's not just women that are attracted to us, but it is other people, it is friends, it is opportunity, it is abundant in that regard. I have women doing everything people already here mentioned. Smiles, stares, getting close, trying to touch me, trying to get my attention in various ways. The bending over is funny. And so many other things, single women, married women, women in relationships. Again, I have to repeat, I am uncommonly attractive. Interesting way to describe yourself, but I trust you, I guess. And women of all backgrounds and colors find me attractive. That plays a massive role in this. 8 to 10 on the scale, average height. This journey really motivated me to find the most attractive, or to be the most attractive I can be, on top of already being attractive physically. I'm fit, and I walk, talk, smell, and dress to impress. Deep voice and an air of healthy arrogance. I like to call this healthy forthcoming, healthy assertiveness. Arrogance has negative connotation, so healthy assertiveness is a good synonym to replace it with. I've learned that all women are the same, just like all men are the same psychologically. Women aren't these pure, innocent beings we thought they were since kindergarten, or since nursery, if you're from the UK. They are just as horny and just as good, bad, beautiful, ugly, and everything in between as men. Men and women just go about things a different way. I think what would be really interesting in the case of this individual is, whether or not you like to concede it when you are entering into a relationship, or if you are attracting an individual, you are trading something, right? So the red pill, high value men, typically find themselves trying to increase the financial capacity they have for freedom. And that is an element of, superficial nature that a woman is going to be attracted to. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want my financial means being the prerequisite or the fundamentally unique element that allows her to make the decision to want to be in my life. I want there to be a spiritual connection. I want there to be a connection on values and morals. And I would like that decision to be made purely on the latter as opposed to the former. And in some ways, you can attract women who are not good for your spirit, not good for your soul, because you might be conventionally or consciously attractive. You end up attracting individuals who want to use you purely as a means to gratify themselves sexually, which a lot of men do. And, I'm not going to deny that we do that. I've done that before. But now when I come to a place where I'm older, I'm 28 years old, and the next individual that I'm going to bring into my life, I want there to be a parallel on morals, values, virtues, our ideas in divine spirituality. I want her to have a spiritual practice. And temperamentally, are we compatible? I don't want an individual that is going to be competing for masculine energy in the relationship. I know I bring masculine energy into the relationship. I want somebody to bring femininity, art, color, life, vibrancy. I can be the frame. I want her to be the picture. I learned that deep down, every woman wants a man who she can spend the rest of her life with. And yes, she wants that man to be ideally an attractive man, a masculine man, a man who she can depend on to take care of her physically, mentally, financially, emotionally, and certainly spiritually. A man who can navigate life confidently. A man who can take charge of both their lives, their children, and the family as a whole unit. This is masculinity. And I would add to this point is, if you don't feel that you're in a position to be able to give this, then you're not in a position to be able to receive femininity. It's hard to hear. It's very difficult to hear, especially if your life is despondent. But it should be the impetus for you improving your life circumstances. The pain you feel as a consequence of your despondence is the impetus, is the spark to allow you to go and fix these things in your life. If you cannot lead yourself, how can you lead a woman? If you cannot lead yourself, how can you lead your family? These are questions and the reality that you need to change in order for you to move on to the next step. And each step is more rewarding as you begin to lead yourself in a direction which is more conducive to where you want to go. You'll find the universe responds to you. The reflection changes in the mirror when you begin to become more willing to smile. But here's the thing, women are humans like us and therefore make mistakes and do bad just like us. For instance, there are things that we men want in a future wife that are universal. Just like women want things in a man that are universal. And I think that comes into the element of masculinity and being assertive and this penetrative force in the world. So she can yield to your ability to penetrate. And that's the essence of sexual intercourse. It is a man's role to penetrate, and it's a woman's role to yield. There is no coincidence. The physical reflects the mental, the psychological, the emotional, the temperamental. If you are to be able to have a woman who's going to yield to you, then you have to be able to penetrate deep. But we men like to enjoy ourselves and play around first. So look for a woman or women that we can satisfy just our desires with. We don't plan to commit to her, just enjoy ourselves and lead her on, and then decide when we get bored to find a wife. Fornication and adultery, simply put. Again, this is not, I've mentioned before in previous videos that many of you are trading one form of lust for another, digital lust for physical lust. When you reconcile with your misgivings, with your shortcomings, and you start to see progress in the physical, many of you fall into the same trap, and you're using women for gratification, fornication, and adultery. These are going to create damage. These create the individuals that you despise in the first place. Women who are cynical of men, women who are mistrusting of men. It's because they meet men who treat them in a mistrusting and cynical way. And how can you expect to lead? I mean, are we not men? Are we not leading? Are we not setting the example? Many of you are very quick to blame the women. I was very quick to blame the women. Say it's all their fault. It's all their fault for being. Who really controls access to sex? It's women, isn't it? But through manipulation and false promises of monogamy, we create the kind of women that you hear these red pill, fresh and fit, whatever podcast that we despise. We create the women we despise. They don't create themselves. We lead, they follow. We need to create a vision, an ideal worth following. I'm sure you would not disagree with that. Well, women do the same. Women can use men for their own desires, whether it's attention, status, money, or lust, and then decide to settle down. But even then, they're still cheating in relationships. And as I aforementioned, I believe that this comes at the consequence of us bleeding our manipulation and our dark triad psychology into them. We have to aspire to be something greater, and we have to be willing to be vulnerable and willing to be hurt in order to set that example. There are no coincidences. Spirit, God, universe, cosmos is watching. We are living in a time that is very degenerate, and nothing but God or the Creator, if you like, or any other name can save our society. And God-conscious people who want to change society for the better. I agree. I advise all of you men on here, when you're looking for a partner, find a woman that is modest and loyal. See her relationship with her mother and father and how she behaves with other people is a great character evaluation by doing this. In today's time, you cannot trust any woman, no matter what you thought or heard or feel about her. My experiences with women on SR as being as attractive as I am has led me to realize that women you are with, that if the woman that you are with is not chaste, then she's not worth it. I agree. Same goes for the man. The man and women have to both be chaste to live a good, decent, and ultimately fulfilling life. And chaste in the sense I interpret being chaste as not being attached to lust, not being attached to your desires. It is not incommensurate to think that desire in and of itself is an evil and horrible thing. It's the attachment we have to it. It's the relationship we have to it. I can desire to, be fed and fast for 24 hours. Doesn't make that feeling in and of itself wrong. It makes it a human emotion. And the relationship I have with that human emotion is the most important thing. If I can be detached from it and be conscious when I make the decision to eat, then I can understand it as fundamentally what it is, as a mechanism for my own survival as an organism. And the other desire is a fundamental aspect of keeping the human race alive. The reproduction reflex, you can call that. But sadly, most people are not chaste. Most people have wandering eyes and cannot guard them, both men and women. If a man or a woman is willing to sleep with anybody before deciding to commit to them, watch adult material, and genuinely doesn't have modesty in their lives, they're not fit to be a partner. I agree. And that's hard to hear. It's hard to hear. But look around you. Are you content with the dating market? Are you content with yourself? Are you content with the kind of women that you're attracting into your life? If no, then your system is not working. You need to change something. You are not leading yourself on the path that you promised yourself you would lead you. When are you finally going to wake up and chase the life that you promised yourself? Time is ticking. Time is ticking. I don't care how you feel about this, but this is the reality. Reality with a capital R. It has been this way since the beginning of mankind. Chaste men and women create a stabilized society. Chaste families. Families are the bricks, are the bedrock of this whole culture. It's the microcosm to the macrocosm. If the family unit is broken down, then society will break down. I agree. It's the devil's oldest and best game, perverting people through the fornication, adultery, and ultimately the skewing of sexual energy. If people start to become unchaste and start following their lusts, then that road will eventually end in destruction. It's animal. It's an animal impulse. It is beyond contemplation. It is reactive. It is reflexive. It is not conscious. There is no agency. There's no control. There's no jurisdiction. You have let somebody else drive the vehicle that you were using to take the journey through your life. You're sitting in the back seat, in the trunk or in the boot of the car, with your hands tied and the devil at the wheel. When are you going to find the strength to break out those bonds and reclaim control? These are not theories, these are facts. Speak soon.